Hello everyone, welcome to the JD Theory. Today, we did the death metal tier list, we did part 2, we are doing the death metal bracket. We're going to get some head-to-head matches. I'm going to choose who I think is the better band. Until we're down to one, we crown the death metal champion, if you will. So we're going to shuffle the seating. Boom. Use matchup mode, and let's see what we get. We'll jump right into it. We get Carcass versus... Whoo, baby. Wow, I cannot read that. Saporashune? I don't know. You know what? For something like that, we're just going to go Carcass, right? Everybody loves Carcass. Necrophiliac. Not necrophagist. But we get Necrophiliac versus Autopsy. So, yeah, Autopsy has some really great early records in their discography. I think I'm going to go Autopsy on this one. Not overly familiar with Necrophiliac. Atheist versus Time Ghoul. You know I'm going Atheist here, man. I love Atheist. I think their first record is super dope. Is the first one A Place in Time? Either way, a lot of great songs. A lot of great albums by Atheist. Everything they did, essentially. Deicide versus Sadistic something, man. I cannot read that logo. This is very fitting. This is a very fitting way to start this bracket. Me not reading death metal logos properly. I mean, if you watch the tier list and you saw the N/A category, aka the not enough context, half the bands that were in there were likely just because I couldn't read the logo, man. So yeah, I'm going with Deicide here, man. What do we get next? Pathologist versus Vader. Vader. We're getting some first round no-brainers here, man. Give me something a little more tough. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Yeah. You know damn well I don't know what either of these say. Pure, Pertinence, is it maybe Pertinence versus Look, they're getting knocked out next round anyway, I promise you. Yeah, man. Yep. All right, this is what we're doing. Okay, Dismembered versus Imprecation. Okay, we're just going to pick Dismembered here, man. You know, sometimes the hand you are dealt is the hand you gotta play, right? Now we're getting some real matchups in the second round. Carcass versus Autopsy. Autopsy, for me, they're a band I was very much interested in because I know they blend that death and doom sound, but they lean very heavily into death. You know, it's not a doom metal band per se. I'd even say their first two records are pretty much pure death metal. Carcass, on the other hand, came from a genre I don't like at all, being grindcore, which is very quick songs, gurgly vocals, very raw production, no song structure. But Carcass, I caught them I caught them this year. If you saw my last video, I probably talked about it. I saw them open up for Cannibal Corpse, and Meshuggah absolutely tore the place down, man. Yeah, Heartwork is maybe one of the best death metal albums ever. And which is funny, because first time I listened to Heartwork, I guess I wasn't ready for it, because I kind of just put it to the side. But after listening to bands like In Flames and trying other stuff like that, like Dark Tranquillity and the Halo Effect, they just weren't for me. But Carcass, Wow. Heartwork captures something that very few albums capture for me. I'd say the Jester Race captures it, Horacle. You know, that something about that really early Melodeath sound is just, it has that death metal aggression with this, I don't know, the sense of melody that you wouldn't get from Melodeath later on. So yeah, we're gonna go Carcass. Ooh, Atheist versus Deicide. These are both bands I really like, but I will say Deicide I've listened to considerably more, just because they're a gateway band into this sound, man. Deicide, their first, God, you could say 5 records, but specifically their first 3 records. I'll even say their first 2. Their first 2 above everything else. Their third record's great, and if that's your favorite, sure. But Deicide self-titled, their debut album, it was either 90 or 91. Absolutely phenomenal, dude. So yeah, we're going to go Deicide on this one. I think Glenn Benton, as a vocalist, he does something to me, man. Then we're going to just give Vader the pass. Vader's getting an easy bracket because I don't know what these other bands are. Same could be said for Dismember, which I do enjoy me some Dismembered. And god damn it, we're doing Carcass versus Deicide, man. Deicide was a lot more essential for me getting into death metal to begin with. Because really, when I was first getting into death metal, I had tried Cannibal Corpse, didn't really like it at first, now I love it. But I'm talking about at the beginning, it was tough, right? I was listening to Morbid Angel's debut album, I was listening to Deicide's first 2, I was listening to a lot of albums by Death, which really flipped the switch in my brain. And yeah, Deicide was a big part of me getting into that. And I'm forgetting somebody else. Obituary, very essential. Some of the best first bands you could listen to. I think if you enjoy that stuff, you'll probably enjoy death metal, period. But Carcass, especially towards the beginning of this year, after I saw them live, I just ran through their whole discography. I love everything. And these are both bands I've listened to pretty much everything they've made. I haven't heard the new Deicide album with the AI cover. Just haven't got around to it. Can't blame me. But Carcass, super tight discography. I'd say it's perfect if you cut out the first 2 albums. But dude, everybody needs to find their rhythm, and Carcass found it. I'm going Carcass. Vader versus Dismember. This is interesting. Vader is like super speed death metal. It's almost like I don't know, it's like death thrash. But it doesn't really do thrash. It just has the feeling of it. And Dismembered, they almost get to this death and roll kind of bag they get in. And their first record, An Ever-Flowing Stream, where it's just pure Swedish death metal, that is some really great stuff, dude. Whew. Man, even Vader's EP in 2025 is when I'm recording this. Their most recent EP, really good, dude. Vader could still make some ripping songs. But, if I'm being honest, I listen to Dismember more. I'm going with Dismember here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, Carcass versus Dismember. Who are we going to crown as the winner of the left side of the bracket? Whew. Carcass or Dismember? See, I'm playing it up right now because for me, this isn't close. It's going to be Carcass. Yep. So we're going to jump on over to the other side of the bracket where we are getting some... we're getting some crazy stuff here, man. Who is this, bro? Amorphous? Is that No, it's not. Lubricant. That's a funny name, dude. That's funny. You won me over. Okay, Nocturnus versus... how dare you? What is that? That's not cancer, is it? I don't think so. That's definitely not Cancer's logo, but we're going to just pick Nocturnus because, yeah. Dude, what is this? What is this tier list, man? Give me some bands I could talk about. Incantation versus Demigod. It's going to be Incantation here for sure. For sure. Order from Chaos versus Asphyx. It's Asphyx. Massacre versus Unreadable Band Name. It's going to be Massacre. Oh. Yep. Not going to be able to read that either. Which is fine. You know what? I might just tear through this bracket and we'll do another one. A 2-for-1. How does that sound? A little special video for you guys. We're going to do another bracket, right? Stay tuned. We're just going to blow through this one, but we are going to stop and have a discussion like right here. Incantation versus Asphyx. Now, after Pestilence, the lead singer would go on to Asphyx, and I believe Asphyx is the better band. I know a lot of people love Pestilence, especially Consuming Impulse and the record that followed that. But for me, whatever that album is, with the zombie on the cover and he's wearing the holy symbol, he's got the cross, I think that album is better than Onward to Golgotha. So I'm going to go with Asphyx here. Massacre versus a band I don't know. Nocturnus versus a band I don't know. We're doing great here. I'm going to go Asphyx over Massacre and over Nocturnus. So we got our finals. This was a bit of a strange bracket, okay? We're just going to go through this one. We're going to pretend it didn't happen. We'll do another video. Not another video. This exact same video. We're going to crown Carcass with their title. Yes, they did get crowned as the death metal band to win, all right? But it was a bit of a busted bracket, a little bit of a silly season, if you will. Let's see if we could do a little bit better. Death metal band brackets. Yeah, I should have been able to tell by the 5 poop emojis it was assigned. Let's go. Bracket fights. This is unheard of. Death metal. Come on. Death metal bands. I cannot spell. We'll just type band. Death metal band. Ooh. Best metal band ever. Old school death metal. Band versus band. You know what? We might just click on old school death metal because that sounds... Death band server bracket? Death band fan server. Let's take a look. Just a brief over. What is this, man? What is this? Come on. Stop it. Stop it. You got me voting on Discord pictures or whatever, your username. No. We're alright. Should have gone with my gut. Old school death metal band bracket. What we're going to do here, we're going to shuffle the seating. Boom. Did it shuffle? Shuffle seating. Use matchup mode. Here we go. Off rip. Some great bands. Incantation versus Pestilence. Now, this is pretty close for me. It's really, do you prefer Consuming Impulse or Onward to Golgotha? That's how I'm going to view this, because those are the records I familiarized myself with. It's going to be Incantation on this one. Autopsy versus Adremelich. Yeah. I don't know who that is. Incarceration versus Headhunters. Not sure, man. Carcass versus Suffocation. Now, we did not see Suffocation in the last bracket. And they're great. What's their album? It's called, like, Pierced from Within. And then you have Effigy of the Forgotten. Both classic. But I'm going to go Carcass. It's just the right answer for me. Demilich versus Atheist. Now that's a matchup, dude. Demilich only has one record. I think Atheist have like 3. But the Demilich 20-year anniversary, you get a lot of extra bonus content. What do we go? I think I'm going to lean Atheist. I appreciate their approach to death metal. Don't know, dude. Don't know. Bolt Thrower versus Entombed. This is interesting. These are both bands I'm not overly in love with, but Entombed does have Left Hand Path and Wolverine Blues. I appreciate what they've done for death metal. You don't have Dismembered without Entombed, you know? So I'm going to go Entombed over Bolt Thrower. Sorry. Get mad in the comments. Immolation versus Wormbath. Is that correct? Or Wombath? Wormgoth? I don't know, dude. But I'm going Immolation. Christ, man. Incantation versus Autopsy. Guess we will go with Incantation. Carcass. What do we got? Atheist versus Who Gives a Hoot? Entombed versus Immolation. Interesting. Oh, baby. I think I'm going to go Entombed in this matchup. It just more familiar, listen to more of their stuff. Incantation, it's Carcass. Atheist versus Entombed? Close. Pretty close, but I'm leaning Atheist. And I think we're going to have the same winner on the left side of the bracket. We got Carcass. Let's see what this bracket does differently from the last one. We got Sadistic. Is that... I don't know, man, but it's Cancer. Nocturnus versus... Ooh, goodness. Don't even get me started on this. Massacre versus Desecrator. Come on, man. Morbid Angel versus Dismember. We're going to see a shake-up here because Morbid Angel is better than Dismember. I don't think you'll hear much pushback on that. Or I won't, at least. Who do we... Oh, my God. You gotta be kidding me with these logos, man. Malevolent Creation versus Desolatory. Malevolent Creation. Man, this video's quality is gonna be dog shit. Nobody's gonna watch this whole thing. Right? You guys aren't still watching, are you? We switched the bracket, for Christ's sakes. Obituary versus Demigod. It's Obituary without a doubt. Deicide versus Unreadable. Going Deicide. Cancer Nocturnus. Probably Nocturnus. I appreciate their progressive elements. Massacre versus Morbid Angel. That is Morbid Angel every day of the week, brother. Malevolent Creation. Yes, sir. Ooh, hold on. We got a classic matchup in this little intersection on this second bracket. Hell, we might even do a third, baby. That's right, we might do a third because these options have not been hit. Obituary or Deicide? I did see Obituary live this year. Who was on that card, man? I saw Nails. There was some hardcore groups. Spirit World, is that their name? They're kind of like cowboy-esque. There was somebody else that was reputable. It was a hardcore band. They were big in like the early 2000s. And there was another one. There was like 5 acts on the card. One of them was like a crossover thrash band with a female fronted vocalist. Their album covers have bugs on them. But it's not coming to my head, man. I'd have to look through my playlist. But yeah, the Obituary show was great. They played every song on Cause of Death except for my favorite song, so that pissed me off greatly. What's that song? Life Goes On. Yeah, they didn't play that. But then I looked online, they played it at the next show, so screw you guys for that, but thank you for the great show. It was at the Knockdown Center over in Brooklyn. Obituary. I'm just feeling it, man. Nocturnus versus Morbid Angel. It's Morbid Angel here. Absolutely. Malevolent Creation or Obituary. It's gonna be Obituary, brother. Ooh. Interesting match. Interesting match. Morbid Angel versus Obituary. Now, this might be very close or obvious to some of you that are thinking, oh, Morbid Angel, but I'm definitely more akin to Obituary. I'm not going to lie to you guys. That's my opinion. And wow, Carcass versus Obituary. Carcass in their second finals matchup. Obituary not in on the first season, but season 2 comeback, right? Ooh. Ooh, baby. Obituary just had such a consistent career. Oh, their production was perfect, man. You could say that for Carcass as well. God damn. Even when Obituary came back, they were amazing. And so was Carcass. Are we kidding ourselves? Like, come on, dude. These bands are really neck and neck for me. But, I saw them both live this year. This is tough. This is really tough. You know, I think I'm going to go Obituary because it just feels like the right answer. It feels like my truth. I think I'm more drawn to that classic death metal style. I think Carcass would bounce around a lot of sounds, but Obituary checks off a lot of boxes for me as a consumer, as a fan. So I think that's where I'm going to land. Yeah. So we got Obituary winning the second bracket. Nice. Let's try to find one more, right? We'll have some fun here. Death metal. Let's just type death metal. See what comes up. Best death metal albums. We want bands, not albums, because that's more content for me to make, alright? I'm saving the album list. Okay, I'm seeing different names already. Let me just... This looks short as hell. Shuffle seating. Use matchup mode. What do we got here? This is a little bracket. We'll do this last small one. Then we'll move on. We got Skinless versus Behemoth. It's going to be Behemoth here. I mean, I would definitely categorize them more as black metal or Black Death. I don't know if they're really death metal at their core, but it's alright. They're the better band in this instance. We're gonna go Carcass versus Deicide. Now I gotta go back to Carcass on this one. Even though you didn't win the last one, you're still a great. Oh, whoa, whoa. This should not be a first round matchup, dude. No way. Okay, so keep in mind the last two brackets we didn't see Cannibal Corpse or Death once. So whoever made those brackets, screw you. But now we get this tiny bracket where we're forced to have a first round matchup with two of the best bands to ever do it. And as much as I love Cannibal Corpse, I saw them live this year. As I mentioned earlier with Carcass, there's no way I could pick them over Death. I mean, Symbolic may just be the greatest death metal album, all subgenres included, period, bro. So yeah, I'm going Death on this one. Nile versus Dying Fetus. What a matchup, dude. Huh. Wow. Nile or Dying Fetus. I think Dying Fetus are hilarious and very talented. They have a bit of brutal death metal, almost deathcore-ish, but I wouldn't go that far. They're definitely brutal death metal. Nile, we get a lot of Egyptian influence. Their first record that I think came out in about 97. I mean, Nile is also brutal death metal, but not in the form it would become soon after. Overall, I think I'm going with Nile here. I've listened to more of their stuff. Carcass versus Behemoth. Love Behemoth, but it's Carcass for me. I will always prefer a death metal band to a black metal band, unless maybe it's Darkthrone. Or, what's that guy's name, dude? Whatever. Carcass. Let's stay on topic here. Death versus Nile. This is not even close for me, which it might be for some of you, but it's going to be Death for me. Death versus Carcass. Wow. Wowee. I love both of these bands considerably, but once again, I hate to say it, this is not even close, man. I think Death is on a completely different level. I'm going Death. Suffocation versus Vader. I'm going to go with Suffocation here. I mean, the origins of brutal death metal. First slam riff ever, man. An Effigy of the Forgotten is a record you could put on to this day. Still amazing. Going with Suffocation. Obituary versus Decapitated. Yeah, I'm going Obituary for sure on that one. Possessed versus Morbid Angel. Interesting. But obvious. Unfortunately, shout out to Possessed, but it's Morbid Angel here. Is that Bloodbath? Yeah, Bloodbath versus Beast. Aren't they a newer band? I feel like I listen to some of their stuff. I definitely listen to some of their stuff. I'm going Bloodbath. Suffocation, Obituary, not close for me, man. I know these bands are both legendary, but I'm definitely more grounded in the traditional death metal, which Suffocation, they're not too far from that. But yeah, it's going to be Obituary. Morbid Angel over Bloodbath for sure, man. Shout out to Bloodbath for holding the torch through the 2000s, though. Somebody had to. Morbid Angel versus Obituary. Interesting. Not really, though. It's Obituary for sure. Now, Death versus Obituary. That is a matchup, brother. And you know, it's going to be death pretty easily, I hate to say it. And yet, death over Carcass, over Obituary, they surpassed, if you will, both champions because they're better. Honestly, Obituary and Carcass, they're not winning the last two brackets if death was involved. So there you have it. Death wins the death metal bracket. Yeah. Why not? Thought I'd do it a little different this time since, the classic rock bracket, it was pretty much one bracket, all inclusive. It had all the big names. For some reason, it seems like nobody's put together a really good death metal band bracket. So maybe we revisit this, we do a part 2, I assemble all the bands that are in the bracket, and maybe we see somebody else as the number one band. But with that being said, this is what we got. I'm happy with it. Hope you're happy with it. Welcome to the channel. If this is the first time watching, you're definitely not watching at this point in the video. Let me not even kid myself. I am talking to 0 people right now. But that's okay. We're on the grind. Last time I checked, 57 subscribers, brother. I'm pretty much goddamn The Rock. So famous. Just kidding. Alrighty. But yeah, if you like the video, I will put here at the end, probably in the top left corner, or the top right, God only knows, my death metal tier list, and you could subscribe to the channel. Yeah, have a great day. Bye-bye.